My returning subscribers, I welcome you on our channel again. We are going to talk about deep litter system or battery cage system, and we want to know which one is a better system to use on our farms. Now, before you know which one is better than the other, first of all, you need to know the advantages and disadvantages of each system, and there you can choose which one to go or which one to use. What is deep litter system? Deep litter system is a system whereby a farmer rears his birds or chicken on a floor, but the floor has what we call litter or bedding. You know this litter from wood shavings, coffee hussicks, so all of that, rice hussicks, we call it litter. So you put the litter on the floor and the birds enjoy that flow of litter. So that is what we call deep litter system. So they are enclosed in a structure or in the chicken coop, but they enjoy the litter on the floor. They are not reared directly on the floor, but the floor is covered with beddings or what we call litter or coffee hussicks or wood shavings. So that is what we call deep litter system. Another system is what we call battery cage system. What is battery cage system? In battery cage system, a farmer rears birds in cages. Yes, the birds are reared in cages. What are the advantages of deep litter system? Now, in deep litter system, the advantage number one, it is simple and efficient. Yes, it is simple and efficient. Here, it is cost friendly. It is not that expensive. Any farmer can manage it. It's a matter of constructing your chicken structure, put your litter in, and bring your birds. So it is very cheap for a farmer to construct it. Point number two, advantage number two of deep litter system is that in deep litter system, birds are comfortable on litter. Because the litter brings in warmth for them. They are comfortable because they can do their natural behaviors. For example, scratching around, dust bathing, all of that. So the birds are comfortable in deep litter system. Also, in deep litter system, birds are free to movement. They can move around, they can climb because birds love flying over. When you put poles or what we call perches, they can fly over and enjoy their environment more than in in battery cage system. Now, these are the disadvantages of deep litter system. You cannot simply identify what we call sick birds. When your birds become sick, you cannot easily identify that this is a sick bird. Why? Because they are mixed together. They are in group, so you cannot know which one is sick. That means if you are giving them medication, you have to medicate them at once. You have to treat them at once because you cannot identify the sick bird, and your birds are at risk of getting diseases. If one bird gets sick, that means it will spread to other birds because they are confined together. So it is also disadvantage about this system. Another disadvantage is that it requires more space. Yes, it takes a lot of space. For example, if you want to rear like 5,000 birds, that means you need huge space. So it is one of its disadvantages. Also, another disadvantage of deep litter system is feed wastage. How? Flow spillage. These birds like to fly over the feeders, like to fly over the drinkers, so they end up spilling the food, the feeds on ground. And here, a farmer is making a lot of losses in spillages or in spoiled feeds. And if they poop into the feeds, they will not eat it. Therefore, you are just making losses. Also, it is labor intensive. It needs quite a lot of labor to work into these birds which are in deep litter system. For example, you have 10,000 birds. Can you imagine how much labor you can have? So it is labor intensive to feed them, to change water, to change the litter, all of that. So it is labor intensive. Also, another disadvantage is that the bedding or the litter can be a breeding place for bacteria. More so when these litters get cold or when they get wet, the bacteria love those cold areas, so they usually hide into those places and they incubate, and later on they become diseases to our birds. For example, coccidiosis, you know, these foot ulcers for our birds. So it is one of the disadvantages. Another disadvantage is your birds at risk to get respiratory diseases. For example, flu. How? Remember, these are beddings or what we call wood shavings. Birds, when they scratch around, the dust comes. When the dust comes, it brings the flu, or it affects the respiratory system of the bird. Therefore, your birds are at risk. Every time you'll be treating them flu, you'll be treating them cough, you'll be treating coccidiosis. All that is in deep litter system. Now another system is battery cage system. Remember, we are comparing deep litter and battery cage system. We have seen the advantages of deep litter and the disadvantages of deep litter system. Let's go to advantages of battery cage system. Point number 1, proper hygiene. In cages, the birds you can maintain good hygiene. Why? Because your birds are not exposed to their droppings like on the floor. They poop on the floor, the food is there, so hygiene is not good in deep litter. But here in cages, you can maintain your proper hygiene because the birds cannot see their poop. They just poop, the poop goes through the cages to the floor, so you can manage your hygiene. Also, another advantage of the cages is that caged hens produce more eggs than deep litter system. Yes, here you can have huge amount of eggs compared to this deep litter. Why? In deep litter, birds move a lot, they do a lot of movement, hence maximizing a lot of energy. Instead of producing eggs or making eggs, they will be using that energy to move around, to do exercises, and they end up not laying quality eggs. But in deep litter, in cages, the birds can produce more eggs and cleaner eggs because the eggs are not exposed to poop. So the eggs are very clean compared to deep litter system, whereby the eggs are mixed with poop and they are not even expensive on the market. People like these clean eggs. So if you want money, you should go into cages. Point number 3, no feed wastage. Yes, in battery cage system, you cannot waste your feeds. Why? Because every bird have a portion. They have, you know, a space where they can eat from. That means they cannot spoil the feeds. They only eat what is necessary for them compared to these deep litter birds. Also, in cages, you can know that my birds have eaten this and this. You can control the amount of feeds they can eat. But in deep litter, you cannot. Why? Because in deep litter, only the strong survive. The strong birds will come first and they will eat all the nutrients, this broken maize, whatever, all the nutrients, and leave the rest to these weak birds. That means the weak birds will not have enough nutrients for them to lay eggs. That's why eggs are not that much in deep litter, because the strong birds will always eat the nutrients first because they are strong, and the weak birds will come later on and eat the nutrients, the feeds which do not have high quality nutrients. But in cages, you can control. Every bird have a space where it can feed from. It cannot feed from the neighbor. They have a space where they can feed from. Point number 4 about cages is clean feeds and water. Yes, the feed is always clean. They cannot poop in them. The water is very clean because they drink from nipples. They cannot, you know, dirten the drinkers. They cannot fly over the drinkers. So everything is clean. Also, in deep litter, little space is required. For example, in deep litter, I can use that space where you can rear, for example, 1,000 birds. I can use it to rear for over 5,000 birds. If I use cages, yes, I can rear more than 5,000 birds in that space, which requires 1,000 birds in deep litter. So to me, the cages are more advantageous than the deep litter system. Also, it is not labor intensive. The cages do not require too much labor. If you have your cages, even if you have 10,000 birds in cages, only 2 people can manage or 1 person can manage, because it is very easy to manage than in deep litter system. Also, diseases are rare. Yes, more so these respiratory diseases are rare. Coccidiosis is rare to find in cages. Why? Because the birds are not exposed to their poop. The birds are not exposed to dirty feeds. The birds are not exposed to dirty water. Therefore, and they are not exposed to litter. You know, this dust from the litter. So, they rarely fall sick. It is easy to collect the eggs in deep litter system because they have what we call egg trough. So it is very easy to collect the eggs. Also, let's see, another advantage is sick birds can easily be identified in cages more than in deep litter. Here you can identify because they have their compartment. They have cages where you put your birds in. So you can identify that this bird is not okay, this bird is okay. Also, you can identify the birds which are not laying in cages. Why? Because they are in compartments. Each compartment has four birds. So if I find 2 eggs every day, that means 2 birds are not laying, and I sell them off than eating my feeds or than eating the money without producing. Than in deep litter system, you may have birds which are not producing and they are just there eating your money, hence spending much in feeds. Let's see the disadvantage of this. Let's see the disadvantages of the battery cage system. Also, another point in advantage of battery cage is safety is not easy. You can easily identify if your birds are stolen. You can easily identify because you can see the cages are empty. That means someone stole your birds more than in deep litter. In deep litter, it is very difficult to know whether your birds are being stolen or not because your workers can store them. Your workers can store your eggs. But in deep litter, in battery cages, you can know that eggs are missing here. You can know here I have 4 birds, I should expect 4 eggs. So it is very, very easy to understand or to know theft on your farm. Now, disadvantages of the cages. Birds are denied their natural behaviors. Yes, here they are denied their natural behaviors, scratching around, jumping over, making exercise, moving. They do not get that. So, and it stresses them. Therefore, it brings stress to the birds. Why? Because they are not in their natural behaviors. That's why they are always on stress relievers. We give them vitamins, we give them stress relievers so that they can relax. Disadvantage number 2, paralysis, or what we call paralysis due to lack of exercise. They are just enclosed in a cage. They are like in prison. So they do not make exercise, hence paralysis. They can be paralyzed and be stuck in one place. Also, disadvantage number 4, it is expensive. My dear, to have 1 cage, you need like 1.5 million and a half Ugandan shilling to have 1 cage for 160 birds, which accommodates 150 birds. These cages differ in prices because it depends on the tier you want. There are those with 3 tiers, also the one with 4 tiers. So it depends also on the number of birds. There are those with 128 capacity, 160 capacity, 256 capacity. So it depends on the number of birds a cage can contain. But they are expensive compared to deep litter system. Disadvantage number 3 is waste management is an issue if not well prepared. For example, the droppings, the chicken droppings, they drop their droppings every day, and if you don't know how to manage that, it becomes a problem on the farm. So you may find your farm is smelling because of the droppings. But in deep litter, these droppings are mixed with the wood shavings, with the coffee husks, and you take like 3 to 4 months to change the litter. But here you need to clean every day. You need to gather all that poop and keep it somewhere. If you don't know how to manage it, that means it is going to be a problem on your farm. So hygiene is very important. But you can see, you can compare by yourselves. The disadvantages are minimal and they can be controlled. So to me, cages is a goal. So we can go into cages. To me, it is more advantageous than the deep litter system. And in cages, you can get maximum production, and we are all looking at maximum production so that we can have huge profits on our farm. See you in my next video. Please like, share, comment. I would like to hear about your comments down below, so you can comment down below and I would be more grateful. See you in my next video. So do not forget to subscribe, because if you don't subscribe, you will miss more educative videos like this in the near future. God bless you.